I'm going to ring the bell. Listen carefully. Thank you for joining. My name is Drake, and I'm just absolutely delighted to be here. I'm delighted because in this particular endeavor that we're doing right now, we're interrelating. It's a conversation. And in this conversation that we are having, we can learn so much about each other and the world. And so the question that comes up here today by Sensei, and oh my God, what an amazing individual Sensei is. A very young man who is a very powerful teacher in his own right. Sensei asks, I would love to hear more about positive indifference and being compassionate and ways to feel what touching the edge is like. Okay, I'm going to say this again. I would love to hear more about positive indifference and being compassionate and ways to feel what touching the edge is like. Wow, that is a really powerful statement. It's actually a series of questions within one question. And each one of these can be broken apart. And by the way, at some point I'm going to take time and go over short passages of different books, and we can break them down together. And it's really so much fun, and we learn so much. So let's break down this question. I would love to hear. So first of all, I love that statement. I would love to hear. I would love to hear about positive indifference. I would love to hear more about positive indifference. So right there in the question, there is an element of the answer in the question. I would love to hear. I would love. I would love. When we say that, I would love, we're intending to love. We want to love. I would love. Not only do we want to love, we're actually in the presence of love. We are actually loving right now. That loving is a longing. And so what I'm suggesting is that it connects directly to positive indifference, because positive indifference is love. Positive indifference is like a light bulb coming into the room that lights up the whole room. It doesn't light directionally. It has an ambient field of light, and when it comes in the room, it changes everything. This is what positive indifference does. When you're in positive indifference, you are open to all possibilities. And you recognize that like the sun, and that is the image that we talk about. It's like a star shining in every direction at once. And so positive indifference, I want to suggest, has a bodily location. It's right here. And when you point right here, you're always talking about your deepest feelings. You're talking about the heart. When you're in the heart, you're in positive indifference, because in the heart, the very center of your being, you shine in all directions at once. So another relationship to positive indifference is the realization that no matter what direction your life takes, you're equally worthy of your own love. You're worthy of your own love if you become President of the United States. You're worthy of your own love if you just sit at home and knit. You're doing more than enough. Positive indifference says that if you're a success in the world, you are worthy of your love. But at the same time, if you are judged and vilified by the world, you are still worthy of your own love. And what ends up happening with positive indifference is it begins to activate the ability to manifest what you actually would like. When you live with positive indifference, your ability to manifest positive outcomes that you actually want becomes more effective. By learning to love all your children equally, you actually learn to love each children specially. And by learning to love all your different possibilities equally, what ends up happening is that you are not conditional with yourself. Remember, when you are conditional with your love, you are not as effective. So what I'm saying is, love yourself no matter what, and as a result, you take less pressure off. Fear is one of the most powerful manifestation techniques. What you fear, you bring to yourself. What you fear, you begin to hate. And what you hate, you spend all your time with. Positive difference is letting go of hate. Second question in this, and being compassionate. So positive indifference and compassion are related. The Buddha said we should have 4 basic areas that we want to work with. The first is compassion. The second is kindness. The third is joy. And then finally he said indifference, which I meant a positive indifference. And so compassion is the first of his great suggestions for us. When we have compassion, we develop unity with that individual we are compassionate with. And so one of the first ways that we can be compassionate is to step back, deep back into ourself, where we can relax into our seat as we observe the play of our lives. So that compassion is looking at your whole life as a whole and falling in love with your life exactly as it is. And when you have compassion for your life, you have compassion for yourself living your life. And compassion always comes before kindness. You have to be compassionate before you can be kind. So we have to be compassionate for ourselves first, and then we can be able to shine compassion to everyone else. When you are compassionate, you automatically become kind. Joy is that sense of meaning. It's a sense of, joie de vivre, that sense of making progress towards a great mission, which is your authentic self. When you get closer to your authenticity, you come closer to joy. There are my dogs. The final one is positive indifference. And so they all link together. Compassion and positive indifference comes together. So finally, what does it feel like to touch the edge? What is touching the edge? We're going to get through this video, so we may have to deal with the dogs. But what is touching the edge? Why is this channel called Touching the Edge? Touching the edge is recognizing what your edge of limitation is. It's where you feel the edge. Touching the edge is where you feel your trigger. But when you touch the edge, when you touch the edge of what you fear, not forcing yourself into it or past your edge, we want to respect our edge. That's our limit. But if we keep coming up and touching our edge, what eventually happens is that we reach to touch our edge, and all of a sudden the edge is not there, and we actually have expanded. So your edge is also related to your fear. Fear is actually our friend. Fear and anxiety. Anxiety is a form of fear. These are here for us, but we're not meant to stew in them. When you feel that anxiety that is your edge, just step up to it and touch the edge. And when you do, your test will become your testimony. One of my edges has been feeling socially awkward throughout a large part of my life. And these elements, when I'm doing these videos, wow, this is a big edge for me. So I touch my edge because I know by touching my edge, I can make a difference. So, thank you, Sensei. That's the answer to these 3 questions. And that's what it feels like. Let us know what you feel. What is your edge? Let us know if these questions have meaning for you, and maybe you can elaborate on them yourselves. Also, please send questions in. Let's have some fun together. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Here we go. Oh, this is so great. I bring my hands together and I bow. Thank you so very, very much. Namaste, my friend. Thank you.